Hello folks, welcome back to Saving Miller. So today we are starting a big project. This is going to take several videos. It's taking about a month to build, and I'm very excited about this. I have decided to name this the Coop de Ville because it is the Cadillac of chicken coops. So we started this project by putting together sort of the foundation of the chicken coop. So we have 12-foot 4x4s here, and the wheels are underneath these, so they kind of form the foundation, sort of like you would build a traditional building. The bars across the middle, the galvanized pipes there, are for supporting the floor, so you'll see how that comes together later on. And then the rest of it is framed out in 2x4s like this. The roof pitch is a 312. I thought I gave it a really nice line, so all three sides of the roof are going to be at that angle. I was lucky to have this gentleman here to help me out. It's nice to have help after being used to doing things by yourself. So we were actually able to get quite a bit done on the first day, and then since then, all the detail work takes quite a bit of time. The mini farmer helped out for sure. He's always very curious about things and asks questions and holds screws for us. So that's always entertaining. We're getting the other side fitted on. So for a lot of this, I haven't built anything like this before at all, so I had to design most of it as I was building it. I think it came together quite nicely. I had an idea of what I wanted the outline to look like, and so we basically just had to build the frame to meet that. But then there were details that you'll see later on that had to be filled in that maybe I hadn't really thought of, or little nuances that come up as you progress through a project. You have to make adjustments and add them. So if you'll notice, this whole thing is sitting in my garage now, in my workshop, so that was really nice. It's still there today while I'm making this video. So it's really nice to be able to keep it out of the weather and be able to just work on it when I have time. Like I said, there are a lot of details on it, so it's going to take a little bit to reveal the entire thing. At this point, I was ready to start building the combination ramp and pulling handle on the front. So I'm building this out of the same galvanized steel that I used for the cross members there. This is basically just a top rail for chain link fence. So I'm measuring some pieces out and getting ready to cut them. This is kind of an original idea that I came up with. I've never seen this before, but usually you have an elevated chicken coop like this, and there's a ramp for the chickens and ducks to come out. And so I wanted to have a handle to move this thing. So my idea was to put this together like this so that I could use it for both. So here's my bandsaw. This thing is great. Can't believe I went so many years cutting things either by hand or with a sawzall when I could have had a bandsaw like this. These things are pretty cool. Great for cutting metal of all shapes. They're a little bit awkward to use, but I really like that tool a lot. So now I've got to figure out a way to join the front end together. So I'm going to drill a large hole here to fit them in, and you'll see how that comes together. Now I ran into some issues here. The step drill only goes to 1 1/8 inches, and I actually needed a hole about 1 1/4 inches to make it work the way I had planned. Plus, I didn't set it up very well in the vise, so I had some issues getting through the bottom. But I managed to get it all sorted out before too long, and you'll see how it comes together in a minute. Now that I have the pieces cut, I'm getting ready to weld the front end together. The back end is going to be secured to the brackets on the frame of the chicken coop. So because of this taper, it's actually quite challenging to get it square. And I got it really close, but it's not quite square. So I'm pushing the cuts together there so that the metal's pretty tight, and squaring it up by eye. Now I like to fit and test, and so right there is where the handle is going to be, so I like to put things together and test it to see how it feels. Now I do have a very basic welding setup, so with that in mind, please be nice and don't criticize the quality of the welds or anything like that. I have very low cost equipment, and I've taught myself how to weld, essentially. My first project was a pool fence, so I had to do some welding when I fit it together, and I learned that I kind of enjoyed it, so I started using welding for other things. So I did build a coffee roaster that I did quite a bit of welding on. And then the second coffee roaster that I'm working on has a lot of welded components as well. So I've become a little more confident in recognizing when a weld is appropriate and when it's useful. And I do enjoy learning new skills, so any opportunity I have to do something like this, I'll take it. And I think it's a good way to finish off the front end of the handle and the ramp here. So there you have it. There's the handle for the front end, and I cleaned this up a little bit so it's nice and smooth now. And here we go for the first test drive. I think it looks pretty good. This is the rough frame, basically how it's going to look. We still have a little bit to do on the back end, but I wanted to test it out, see how it feels, how it rolls around, and it feels pretty good. I think the chickens are going to like it. I think we're going to like it. This is going to be a great chicken coop. So next week, we'll continue on the build. I think we're going to end up with 3 parts here. Savvy Miller out.